We all know the guy who loves LeBron James probably more than anybody. That's our boy Draymond Green. We brought up already how Draymond was not a fan of the All-Star game format, but he was also saying some crazy shit, Sage.
He
So
did. He was on one.
I think the craziest one was they were just having a random conversation. I think Candace Parker said, I don't know if I'd ever want to be a coach in the league. You got to deal with all these personalities. And then she kind of just threw out a comment like, imagine Draymond being a coach. And then Draymond goes out and says, I already got offered to be the Warriors head coach after I retire. What? Like, where the fuck did this come from?
He's lying. He's literally lying.
Do you think he's being serious? And
no.
Would Draymond Green be a good head coach?
No, no, and no. All three are no's. You can't have a guy who's that much of a loose cannon like as your coach. He can't build up young guys. You see what he does to all the young guys. And on top of that, he's going to get thrown out of every game. He's literally like, you see what Kerr is, and Kerr's the most calm and collected guy. You see all these coaches who are calm and collected get thrown out. Draymond would be a nightmare. And you take on the personality of your head coach. So you just have a team of nightmares. And you don't want that in Golden State. Two, you have Kerr. Like, you have Kerr. So you saying that makes me think like Kerr's either gone or Kerr's the guy who offered you the job. And either way, someone's lying. Someone's getting fired because that's just not true. Draymond would be a terrible coach. I get it. He's smart. I'd like him more as like the Stackhouse role, the defensive, like loose cannon on the bench who could kind of get the guys hyped. But as a head coach now, no one would take you seriously. Like it'd be funny, but no one would take you seriously. It'd be like, oh, remember the Draymond Green era for those 2 years when Draymond Green was the head coach? Like, you're gonna it's gonna be like JJ, like you're gonna podcast and head coach. Like I can't imagine it.
Okay, let me be the devil's advocate here, Sage. I agree with you on the fact that I think that he's blowing smoke up everybody's ass. I don't think that I think maybe Joe Lacob said to him like, oh, Draymond, like maybe after the 2022 championship, Joe Lacob's had some champagne in him and he's saying, Draymond, once you retire, he's like, I love you so much. Like, once you retire, like, I want you to be our coach. I want you to be our coach. I think that's what happened, and Draymond literally took that seriously. He's like, okay, like, I had the offer to be the head coach once I retire. Like I said, though, I'll be the devil's advocate. One of the smartest players in the NBA, even though he makes some of the dumbest passes you'll ever see.
He's not one of the smartest
in human
players.
history. He is. I mean, Sage, the way that he runs that defense, he's literally the point guard on the defense. He's a very intelligent basketball player. That's something that you need for an NBA coach. Sage, I have not seen fire on a guy like Draymond ever in basketball. So you got to think that he would be a good guy if you need a motivated team in the NBA. Sage, what's the number one reason that a lot of teams in the NBA struggle now with this current generation of players? Nobody gives a fuck. There's no way in hell that if Draymond Green is the coach of an NBA team, that he's going to allow his players to fuck around and not give a shit. So you lock those two things up, and he's a winner. Sage, he is a bona fide winner. I know that a lot of people say that he just carries the backpack for Steph, but
no, he is the backpack. He is the backpack.
Or he is the backpack. Steph carries him, but he's a champion. He's got the smarts and he's got the energy. So, I mean, if he could find a way,
it doesn't translate.
I don't know, maybe go to therapy 7 days a week and try to stay within himself and not get kicked out of these games, I think it could maybe be a good situation. I'm being serious. I'm kind of pro Draymond potentially being the head coach.
Yeah, congratulations. That's the dumbest thing you've said all day. No chance. No chance it won't happen. I don't think it translates either. Like, who's the most fiery competitor in this league? One of the best basketball minds ever. Failed miserably as a GM. I know it's not the head coach. It's not setting the culture, but it's kind of similar, right? Like, it doesn't always translate perfectly. You know what I mean? Like, it's the guys who don't really do well in the NBA or don't really have any like actual playing experience that are the best coaches in this league. It's guys like Steve Kerr, Spoelstra, Pop, right? Like Phil Jackson, guys like that. Those are the guys like I want coaching my team.
You know what, Sage? You know what I think? I think that you're a bit of a pessimist. I think you're being a bit of a pessimist right now.
I don't trust him.
No, Sage. I think you need to open. I think you need
to
open
up the
windows.
He's made some of the dumbest decisions in NBA history. He's cost his team 2 rings. He cannot put his own ego aside. And as a coach, if you do that, your locker room is going to be flames. He literally drove Jordan Poole out of town. He's the reason KD declined to trade and said, I'd rather stay in Phoenix. He's the reason, I guarantee you, he's the reason Klay Thompson didn't want to come back. I get you, Klay Thompson's like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm done with the situation. I need a breath of fresh air. Like, I'm done with just dealing with this guy. He's made Steph cry twice during games. He's made Steph cry. Steph loves him, but secretly Steph motherfucks him. Like, it's just like, this guy has screwed me over time and time again. He's the reason LeBron James is arguably the GOAT. And you could, for as much as you hate LeBron, like you have to accept that as well. Because if the Warriors win that 2016 finals, like what
I will not
saying?
accept that. That's a bunch of fucking horseshit. But go on.
But I'm just like for like the general public, like you know what I mean? Like he gave LeBron the greatest championship in NBA history, however you want to put it. So he's the reason for a lot, like and a lot of bad for the Warriors. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, so a lot of people do blame Draymond for that 2016 NBA Finals where they lost. A lot of people think, hey, if you didn't call KD a bitch and drive him to Brooklyn, they probably win a couple more championships. But Sage, if Draymond is able to win a 5th NBA championship this year, would it make up for it? Because he's on TNT, and they ask him, they say, Jimmy Butler's coming to town. I think you're what, 3-1 or 4-1 since Jimmy Butler's came in. How do you feel? What do you expect from the Warriors the rest of the way? And he said, I think we're going to win a championship. So I don't know. The thing that he said that really struck me was that before Jimmy got in there, they were probably going into some games thinking, okay, we're going to get beat tonight. We just don't have enough. We're not good enough. And he said now that they have Jimmy Butler, they walk onto the court every single game expecting a win. And he said that's a big thing in the NBA, which it's got to be. 100%. I mean, if you don't have the belief that you can win every single game, there's no way that you're going to go into a 7-game series against an OKC or a Boston and beat them if you don't think that you can beat them. So it seems like he's really confident in what Jimmy Butler's bringing to the Warriors. What do you think about what Draymond had to say about that?
Okay, so guaranteeing the chip, like it's funny because he walked it back or he said that he thinks they could compete. Then he walked it back and then he went all the way. He said, you know what? We are going to win the championship. Steph called him out on it. He's like, I got Draymond guaranteeing championships, but I get it. Like, I get where he's coming from. Like, they're going to be an absolute like thorn in your ass in the playoffs. Like you're going to have a crunch time 5 of Steph, Kuminga, Draymond, and Jimmy Butler. I don't know who the 5th is going to be yet. It's probably going to be Pods. I think they're probably going to go small, go back to, what got them there, unless they're playing the Nuggets and you can't do it. But depending on the team, they're probably going to go small, right? Like the Thunder play small. I guess they got Chet now, but the Thunder are a relatively smaller team. The Lakers now are a small team. The Rockets are a smaller team. So whoever you're playing, you're probably going to try and get them with your small ball. So you have a great small ball 5. You have intelligence around the court. Like you said, you got Draymond, who in the league right now, really smart player. Jimmy Butler and him seems like they play really well together. They feed off each other, back doors. It seems like they're on the same page, better than Jimmy and Steph, to be honest, right out the gate. I mean, you see what Jimmy is, right? I think people underrate how great of a playmaker Jimmy Butler is, because instead of passing the ball to Gabe Vincent and Hayward Highsmith, he's passing the ball to Steph Curry, Draymond Green. He's finding these rookies, these role players, and he's able to feed off them. And the Warriors system with all this movement, it plays into a guy like that who sees the court well, is good at making reads. Like you have those post plays where you get it to Jimmy in the paint, and instead of, having Jonathan Kuminga making those decisions out of the post, you have Jimmy Butler looking for pods on the back screen, looking to see where Steph's flashing. You see where Draymond is on the court, and you could feed off, it's constantly moving. You have guys going to the rim. I mean, against the Rockets, they were smoking a lot. No, who was it they lost to? The Mavs. They were smoking a lot.
Mavericks.
Yeah, the shots were there, though. Like, it was easy shots. Like, that was the thing about the Warriors last year, is like they could score, but all the shots were tough. Like, it was a lot of, contested shots, like not a lot of separations on shots. You see it as soon as you get Jimmy Butler in there. Like, the shots are coming easier. The way that they're moving it, everything comes like, it's easy. You get free buckets, free runners to the basket, lob threats. And this is without Kuminga. So I just think like you get this team in a best of 7, like they can beat anyone. They're like, I see the vision, but it's for me more about getting there. Like you got to get past the 7. Like you do not want to be a play-in team going back-to-back games, and then you got to go play the Thunder or the Nuggets as the 1 or 2 seed on the road. Like that's a recipe for failure. Jimmy's done it before, but it's not the West. The West is a whole different animal. So you got to get it. You got to keep winning, go full throttle, get that 6 seed. But I have faith, man. I see the vision.
Sage, I just never got when people said that you got to try to keep Wiggins. You can't make this deal for Jimmy, citing what's been going on with the Miami Heat the past couple weeks. I knew right when you brought him into the situation with Draymond, Steph, proven winners, he was going to fall in line. Also, it's the NBA. If you don't have a clear second option, you ain't going to win shit. And the number one difference that I see with Jimmy on this team, not only the fact that he's a dog and that he's clearly brought up the intensity level with the entire team.
Yeah.
Wiggins, his entire career, even in 2022, where that was probably the best that Andrew Wiggins played in his entire career, he was always on and off with his aggression. What I'm seeing with Jimmy right now he knows when to be aggressive. He knows when, okay, maybe Steph needs to take a breather a little bit. I'm going to take the ball. I'm going to drive to the fucking rack. And if I get fouled, I'm going to go to the line. I'm going to give the rest of the team rest. It just seems like he knows when to take his shots, when to take his opportunities. And like I said in the last podcast, I think this is the first time since we had fucking KD that anybody's had 10 free throws in a game for the Warriors. So not only the intensity factor, but I just think that he meshes so well with Steph and Draymond. And yeah, do I think that they should be favored against OKC? Obviously not. But if you're telling me that you have Steph, Jimmy Butler, late close games, that they can maybe find a way to win a series or upset a team like Denver, who I know they have Nikola Jokic, but all around them, they're struggling. They're injury prone. OKC still a young team without a clear second option. I know a lot of people love Jalen Williams, but I'm not ready to crown him yet. I'm not ready to crown him yet. So I do think that
he's taking a major step back this year too.
I do think that there's a way that they can maybe get it done in the West. And the number one thing with this team is that they believe now. And you could clearly see, Sage, they had no energy the entire year. Steph seemed drained, and it just seemed like they were going to walk to a point where they were maybe going to make the play-in and get bounced early. The fact that Draymond's saying this, that they genuinely believe they could beat any team, has me believing, and that's all I need, man. I just need to believe in something. Get me into the fucking tournament and see what can happen. What the fuck? All these fucking Warriors fans, radio show hosts on KNBR 95.7 The Game. Oh, that's not the best value that you can get. You don't want to trade away these young assets for Jimmy Butler. Get the fuck out of here. This is the NBA. You're going to be rolling out maybe 6 or 7 guys in the playoffs. If you give me Jimmy Butler and you have to give away Andrew Wiggins and Dennis Schroeder, fucking give me that.
Yeah, playoff Jimmy, bro. This guy elevates. He's a proven playoff elevator. That was the whole thing about the Luka thing, is like why you had such trouble trading him, is he's a playoff elevator. Like he comes out to play in the playoffs. He doesn't shy away. Like that's Jimmy. Jimmy, like I don't know about now, but 3 years ago, he took this team to a finals. Like he was a top 3 guy in the playoffs in the entire Eastern Conference. He went head to head with Giannis and outplayed him. He went head to head with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, outplayed them. He went head to head with Nikola Jokic, got, but he got his team there with Gabe Vincent. Tyler Hero was gone. So it was Gabe Vincent, Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, like guys like this. And now the Heat are like the most uninteresting team in the league, right? Like they did him dirty. He wanted out. You get him at a discount because of it. And you get to roll out like the most veteran, the most like playoff savvy, and a decently like big team all in one. So you got to love it. Like you have Jimmy at the 2 now, and you're athletic still, and you can defend. So it's a move in the right direction. You get Houston, or you get the Lakers in the first round, with the Lakers now without AD, like you can make some noise, but you got to get there is the problem. You got to get out of the play-in.
So Sage, so they're 3.5 games out of the 6th seed right now, which would be the point where they would avoid the play-in tournament. 1.5 games
of the schedule too.
Yeah, 1.5 games out of the 8th seed, and they're playing Sacramento at Sacramento on Friday. But Sage, they got a pretty easy schedule coming up over the next couple weeks or so. So you got Sacramento, Dallas, Charlotte, at Orlando, at the 76ers, who are a complete dumpster fire. Maybe the worst situation in the entire NBA with what's going on with Paul George and Joel Embiid.
But the
and then
Eagles
you're at Charlotte.
are, the Sixers aren't. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Oh, my God. I mean, I cannot think of – thank God for Philadelphia sports fans that you had the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, because the Sixers are going to fucking break your heart. I mean, there is just no hope for them. I hope they do make the play-in just so they could give Philadelphia fans a little bit of hope and, I don't know, lose to like the Charlotte Hornets in the 9-10 game. And just so they could be like, okay, yeah, fuck it. Joel Embiid, he's not going to ever get it done. Paul George was a bust. Hey, Warriors fans, just be thankful they didn't pull the trigger on Paul George, because yikes. He looks like 100%. He's done.
And even like with KD, like I think I'd rather have Jimmy the way like I see it, like what he brings, like being able to slow the game down, get to the free throw line. Paul George, not even a question looking at it. I mean, he had a 0-point performance or a 2-point performance on 0 made field goals the other day. Cardio P, whatever, where's Paul though, whatever, all the jokes they write themselves. You want to do it, but I don't know, man. Like just give me anyone, and I need to see what this team looks like with Kuminga, because right now they're missing that athletic wing that he's just going to fill the entire role. a lob threat next to Jimmy who could make those cuts and get to the basket. Like, I am so excited for Friday's game. You got the Kings, you got the Mavs, and then it gets really easy after that. So I think, like, you could rattle 4 or 5 wins in a row here if you get past the Mavs on Sunday.
Sage, like you brought up, Kuminga's got to take the step up. Also, Steve Kerr, please give him minutes.
Jonathan Kuminga, got to step up,
please
bro.
Please give him minutes. Please give him the opportunity to try to take that next step. It seemed like he was gonna do it, got injured, so that kind of sucked. But you get a good couple games after you get Jimmy Butler. Hopefully, Jonathan Kuminga could come in there, continue on that path that he looked like he was going to be on. And if Jonathan Kuminga could become a star over the next couple months, that could be key to the Warriors winning it all. But Sage, anything else from All-Star Weekend? Charles Barkley had a couple comments for San Francisco, was flipping off the fans.
Walked it back a little, but Chuck's gonna chuck, Shout out to Steph. I mean, I don't want to dive too much into it, but for what it was, like, it was fitting he won the All-Star Game MVP. I don't think it adds to his legacy, but doesn't take away. We're walking away here with something, so I'm proud of it.
I was gonna ask sarcastically, does that lock him up as a top 10 all-time guy now? Two All-Star Game MVPs. People are saying
he is the best All-Star Game player just because of his skill set. I'll say that. Like, he doesn't go hard, but he doesn't have to for it to be entertaining. Like, he saves it single-handedly, like pulling up from half court, the look away stuff. Like, he makes it fun.
I mean, he's the best three-point shooter of all time. Nobody's playing D. He basically has shoot-around threes everywhere. So, yeah, this is
he's the best
right now how the NBA All-Star Game is set up. It is perfectly set up for Steph Curry.